So for this module, this is one of my favorite things to talk about because again, when we talk about music business, what is business? Business is to offer a service in exchange for money, right? Like that's it. That's what we're trying to achieve here. It's like how do we maximize our return on investment as creatives? And one of the best scenarios and situations where artists can, if not collect payment, but at least put a foundation in place to get payment in the future is going to be your live concerts. And there's a ton of, obviously, maybe you have a guarantee, maybe you have ticket sales. Like that's the stuff hopefully you're not playing gigs for free. I understand there are some scenarios where it's for exposure, but it's very few and far between where that's actually worth your time. So what I want to talk about is the potential opportunities of revenue generating strategies when you are playing a live gig. So the first thing that comes to mind, straightforward, merchandise. Having different types of physical merchandise with you at your gigs to sell is hugely beneficial. It's pretty straightforward. I don't think I need to do a video of why having merch benefits your revenue. Now, I do understand that it takes upfront money to stock your merchandise section, but you can get creative about it. So if maybe you don't have the budget to buy t-shirts, it can get expensive, a couple $1,000s to fully stock it up. The truth is, if you're touring successfully or if you're touring consistently enough, like within time, you can get the return on investment from what you put in the merchandise. But let's say hypothetically you don't have a ton of physical merch items in place. Then look at the digital side of things. If you looked back in one of the first points we made in this kind of lesson series is to have a good professional website. So you can have content that maybe you sell directly digitally to these people. So that could be a QR code that they scan. It takes them through to a page on your website that they can immediately purchase the album. They can even give you cash on site at your venue or the venue that you are playing that allows them to unlock, maybe a release, maybe a single. Now, there are some technology things that need to be in place to make that work, but it's a lot easier than you would think it is. That's part of this mastermind group, is I can show you how to do that pretty freaking easily. So getting creative with your merchandise sales is huge. One other thing about generating revenue when you're at a venue, especially if you have a good gig, go ahead and book another gig when you're there. And maybe they can't give you the date off the books, but if you have to think about it in any type of lead generated business, and especially you've already been hired by the venue. Let's say they hire you, it's your first time, it's your second time. You have a pretty good turnout. They're happy. They're giving you great feedback. Well, before you leave that building, go ahead and pencil in another date. That's another form of revenue based off of the gig that you're playing. If they can't commit then at least get it penciled in and follow up tomorrow to see when you can get that back in. So definitely merchandise, direct sales, albums, CDs, stickers, all that kind of stuff. Another point too, and we'll do a whole series about merchandise. There's a couple people in my network that are just crushing it in that game. I'd like to bring them in, but to be strategic about it, you don't have to spend a ton of money. There's drop shipping options as long as you vet the companies and they are sending good quality stuff. But then again, we already discussed briefly digital options, which is why having a professional website helps, because you can facilitate all this yourself. So anytime you walk into a venue, you got to look at it as an opportunity to, if you're not selling something directly, is to lay the groundwork for a potential future sale. So that could be email list signups. That might not be directly selling on site, but that's bringing them into your ecosystem to when you do a merch drop or when you do release a new piece of content, music, video, whatever, you can market to them directly for free and potentially down the line turn them into revenue. So just a quick couple of points about live gigging and how you can turn that into more revenue. If you have any ideas that I'm not talking about, that's part of this community. So if you drop it in a comment, send it in an email to me. If you want to do a whole feature on a specific idea you have, that's what we're all about. So I appreciate it and good luck with the next module.